Hello everybody and happy Friday. I hope you've had a good week. My week has been great until today. I am so sleep deprived right now. The weirdest thing happened last night. They were like doing helicopter flight training at night over my house until after midnight. And it was so loud. Sometimes when the helicopters go right over my house, it will actually shake the house. And it's just, why'd they have to do it on a Thursday night so late? I was really unhappy. I'm a terrible sleeper on the best of nights. So yeah, I am super dragging today and I am so ready for the weekend. I want to get a bunch of things done, but my energy levels are pretty much non-existent right now, but I should be better once I can take a nap. Maybe I will do that this evening and then get some things done. But I have things to talk about. I'm going to talk about reading plans and books first, and then I will probably show you some more of my ongoing crochet projects if you're interested in that, and other stuff I plan on doing this weekend. So first of all, I am almost done reading Everything is Made of Letters by Sophia Ray. This is one of the new conversation pieces from Aqueduct Press, and I just bought this on a whim because Rachel Cordasco, who runs sfntranslation.com, mentioned it on Twitter, I think, and I was like, oh hey, I need an excuse to go buy more of these conversation pieces. It's translated. So glad that I did. It's really tiny. It's only about 140 pages long, and it's a collection of 4 or 5 stories, I think. Yeah, 5 stories. And I've been really impressed by it. I quite like it, and I am already sad that there don't seem to be other books or stories by the author that are translated into English. So someday perhaps, but yeah, I've got one more story to read in this and then I will be done. I got another conversation pieces I ordered at the same time and it hasn't come yet for some reason. It is the other one that I haven't read by Vandana Singh, and I am hoping it will arrive this weekend. I don't know why it didn't ship with this one, which is new, but oh well. But I really enjoy Vandana Singh's stuff, so whenever that comes, I will be jumping on it right away. Then I'm trying to read Clarke Award winners. As of right now, I only have 3 more books to read for my Clarke Award winners project, and I'm down to the 3 that I have been dragging my heels on reading for the longest, and I don't necessarily have any good reason for why. The first one is He, She, and It by Marge Piercy. I am going to read a chunk of this weekend. I've got to make it like more than 50 pages into it, and then after that I will have some momentum and I'll get going, because I think that it will be a very interesting read. I suppose this is the only one that I haven't read yet because I'm afraid it's going to be really depressing. I've read one other book by Piercy, Woman on the Edge of Time, and it was a really tough read. And I think that subconsciously I'm expecting this book to be the same thing, and it's also pretty long. It's close to 500 pages long, I think. So I'm going to start this one. I have already started or restarted for the 4th time Song of Time by Ian R. MacLeod. This is one that I've read the first chapter of it 3 times, and now I've done it for a 4th time, and I like the first chapter. I just always put it down and go read something else instead. But I have restarted it. And then the last one, which I probably won't start until later into next week, is The Child Garden by Jeff Ryman. And this is one that I almost sorta DNF'd back in 2017. It wasn't working for me at the time, but I ended up with the ebook of it and thought I should try that one again. I didn't really say I would never come back to it, so I'm gonna give it another try. And that will be the end of my Clarke Award project, and I can do my final video on that hopefully at the end of June. Some other things that I am also in the middle of, I started reading The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I've never actually read any of her books, even though all of them are on my TBR. But this one was the pick for a little private book club that I and some friends have, and so I need to read this in the coming weeks so we can talk about it next weekend. And I've read the first 2 chapters of it and I really like it. For some reason it's reminding me of the beginning of Soulless by Gail Carriger, probably because it starts out at a like ball or party, and the Glamorous Histories books by Mary Robinette Kowal, time period wise perhaps. I'm also thinking about that particular series because I am almost done reading Word Puppets by Kowal, which is her short story collection from a couple years ago. I'm buddy reading that this month with Maya. It's been on both of our TBRs for years, and we finally decided to help each other out and buddy read it, like about 1 story per day this month. And it's a good collection. There are definitely some duds in it for me, but I'm so glad I'm reading it because there are some other stories I never knew about that she's written that are really, really good. Like one that's called Body Language. So we'll see how I feel about it when I get done reading the entire collection. I may be inspired enough to do a video on it, we'll see. I kind of want to do more videos, like single review videos of collections and anthologies, because I need to read a bunch of them that are sitting around on my physical TBR shelf, but also on my Kindle. And I feel like June is turning into the month where I just read all of the collections. So there is that. I think the only other thing that I am sort of reading is I listened to the beginning of Mary Poppins on audiobook. I don't think I like it though. I'm tempted to DNF it, so we'll give it another bit or 2 and we'll see what I think about that. But I've been doing a lot of crochet, so I've been listening to audiobooks and watching a lot of Netflix. So let's talk about that next. Every once in a while, my brain just says, Rachel, we're not going to do anything until we have made the thing. And usually that is either jigsaw puzzles or crochet projects. I'm not currently in a jigsaw puzzle phase, but I am in a crochet phase. So I have been making a bunch of things and finishing things up over the past 2 weeks. So the first thing I will show you is this. If you remember that Friday Reads video I did some months ago where I showed other crochet projects, you may kind of recognize this pattern. This is the Lost in Time shawl pattern. I did the original like triangular shawl and I gave that away to my friend Chris. But I love the pattern so much and I love the yarn that I went out and got more of the yarn, but in a different color. And I decided to make a rectangular shawl with that same pattern. I didn't modify the pattern, I found somebody else's modification. It's rather tricky, but I figured it out. So yeah, it is a big long rectangle. This is the shape that I actually prefer for shawls and wraps and stuff for myself. So this is for me. I love this particular yarn. It's the Red Heart Unforgettable, I think. I'm not so keen on this particular color of it though. The Lost in Time shawl that I made before was with the Echo color with some very muted earth tones basically, and I loved that. They did not have more of that at Michael's when I went back to get yarn, so I got this one instead, which is called Stained Glass, and it's pretty. It's just not entirely me, but I'm making it work. So yeah, I finally finished this and cleaned up the edges and stuff. I'm not gonna block it because I don't need it to be any particular shape. The only problem with this is I didn't realize until I was done. I was reading about somebody else's project where they were making something that's shaped like this, and they like did it in 2 pieces so that when you actually wear it, the pattern is right side up on both sides. But in this case, you can see that it is upside down on this side, but right side up on this side. And I didn't even consider that until it was already done. So the things that you learn. So finally finished that, and then I made what I'm currently wearing. This is the Inmost cardigan. The pattern designer is 11 Handmade on Instagram, and I follow her on there. I love a lot of her patterns. She does a lot of textured crochet, lots of puff stitches and things like that, and I love puff stitches. So the inmost cardigan, I'll take it off so you can see it a bit better. It's in like a really dark yarn, of course, so it's harder to see the pattern, but if I hold it up you might be able to see it kind of zigzags. So yeah, I made this with yarn that I had bought for a different project that I decided not to do, and I love it so much. It's so comfy. I want to make like an entire afghan using this particular yarn and maybe this pattern. I was thinking about that while I was lying in Shavasana at the end of yoga last night, and I was like, I need to make a blanket like this because I was wearing it during yoga. The things you think about when you should be emptying your mind. So yeah, I had so much fun making this. This was the beginning of my most recent crochet binge. I made the entire thing in about 2 days, and I immediately decided to make another one, but with some changes. So that is this green thing, and this you can see the pattern much better. Like that. So it's basically a bunch of triangles that form a square or a rectangle. So this one, I'm just modified it to more tightly pack the puff stitches because I really like the effect of that. And because I'm working in worsted weight rather than the bulky yarn, I need to do more repetitions and make it a rectangle instead of a square so that it will fit. But it's what's called like a cocoon shrug. You pretty much make your square or rectangle and then you fold in some sides and sew them and you make armholes like that. So this is almost done. I have 2 more repetitions of the pattern to go. I just got the rest of the yarn from Hobby Lobby yesterday. I had to special order it because they ran out. And I will be finishing this up on Sunday probably. There's going to be another Stitch and Bitch live show where a bunch of us will be getting together to work on our most recent crafting projects, our reading tracker projects and stuff. It's going to be Sunday, 1 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be on Claire's channel, so I will link things down below for you. So yeah, I'm actually up to date on my reading tracker Afghan, which I don't have right here to show you, but I don't have any more work to do on it until I read some more books. So I'll be working on this instead. And one other thing that I started, because whenever I go to buy yarn for something specific, I get distracted and I buy yarn for something new as well. So that is why I got this gray super fine yarn, and I am working on a sweater. This is take 2 on this sweater. I made one in a berry color over the winter and it was a little bit too big. It's the Goldenrod sweater by 11 Handmade. So I knew I wanted to do it again, but make it more fitted to my body shape. So that's what I'm doing now. So I've done the yoke, and I'm now just barely begun on the armholes and the body of it. So I will know shortly if I really screwed up the fit or not, but there. So lots of crochet going on right now. Lots of audio booking. I've been binging Netflix because I got my Netflix subscription back for a little while. I watched The Umbrella Academy and I loved it, and I can't wait for season 2. I'm watching the final season of Versailles, and I think the second season of Dark comes out next week, and I will be watching that because I love the first season of that as well. And the last thing that I'm going to be doing this weekend, if I get my baking mojo back after that nap that I plan on taking, I'm going to be attempting bread once again, my ongoing bread adventures. If you've been here for a while, you may have heard me talk about this before. I am good at baking many things except for bread, and so I'm going to do again the method that I did successfully with my dad a couple weeks ago. I'm going to do it on my own, and this time I will take into account the fact that the ambient temperature is different now and that the dough will rise faster. I keep over-proving my bread dough. This has been my problem. So we'll see if I figure it out this weekend. I am also probably going to make a cherry pie because I was out at my parents' place yesterday and their cherry trees are just covered. Like, now is the time to pick cherries, and my parents really like cherry cobbler. These are not sweet Bing cherries, these are tart pie cherries, so you don't just eat them. They have to come with lots of sugar on top. And I don't like them very much, but I also haven't had a true cherry pie in many, many years, so I am probably going to go pick some cherries and make myself a cherry pie and find out once and for all if, as an adult, I like cherry pie or not. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have this weekend. I may be committing to too many things, but wish me luck in my baking endeavors. I need it. And yeah, I think that's it. The books, the crafting, the baking, that's pretty much all there is to talk about right now. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you again soon. And until then, bye.